yourself sometime skipping a religious function, dodging a puja, or taking a shortcut in a ritual. And if on such an occasion you crossed paths with an old pujari in charge, he probably cast a disapproving glance at you and proceeded to lecture you on the merits of the practice. He probably started by saying, "Hamare Puranon mein likha hai." But then you tuned off. Because who really cares what is written in our Puranas? What are the Puranas anyway? That's precisely what we'll try to find out in this episode of Culture Express. Since the Puranas are a vast body of literature and our video short in format, I shall only introduce you to the subject. Why you should know at least a little about them is because a large chunk of what we understand to be Hinduism today is derived from the Puranas. Mythology, rites and rituals, festivals, pilgrimages, you name it, and the Puranas have it. Basically, the word Puraan means an old or ancient narrative. As Shruti texts, it is understood that Puranic literature expands upon the essence of the Vedas. A classical definition from the ancient Sanskrit lexicon Amarkosha says that a Puraan must have 5 characteristics. They are Sarga, that is creation of the universe, Pratisarga, that is dissolution, Vamsha, that is genealogies of gods, demons, sages, etc., Manavantaras, that is different eras of Manus, and Vamshanucharita, that is histories of royal dynasties. The Brahmana Purana extended the list to 10 characteristics, but only a few texts such as the Vishnu Purana meet these requirements. Generally speaking, Puraans include a host of other subjects such as devotional hymns, concepts of heaven and hells, folktales, pilgrimages, temples, dramaturgy, medicine, astronomy, grammar, mineralogy, theology, philosophy, and occasionally even love stories. There is also valuable history to be found in some of the Puranas, with accounts of empires like the Shishunagas, Nandas, Mauryas, Shungas, Andhras, etc. There are 18 major or Maha Puranas composed in Sanskrit, including Brahma, Padma, Vishnu, Shiva or Vayu, Bhagavata, Narada, Markandeya, Agni, Bhavishya, Brahma Vaivarta, Linga, Varaha, Skanda, Vamana, Kurma, Matsya, Garuda and Brahmanda. These texts are classified according to the deities they eulogize. Thus, you have 3 sets of Puranas that are Vaishnava, Brahmana and Shaiva by nature. The Padma Purana also classifies them according to the 3 gunas, calling the Vaishnava Puranas Sattvik in nature, the Brahman Puranas Rajasic in nature, and the Shaiva Puranas Tamasic. Interestingly, it claims that reading the Sattvik Puranas will help achieve salvation, reading the Rajasic texts will secure one a place in heaven, while reading the Tamasic texts would take one straight to hell. This has led many people to believe that the sectarian differences, especially between the Vaishnavas and Shaivas, were great. However, the said gods are not exclusive in these Puranas, which happily acknowledge the presence and greatness of other gods too, including the Mother Goddess. Such apparent claims, counterclaims, exaggerations and contradictions are abundant in the Puranas. But that's because, like other ancient Indian literary traditions, they are not written by one author and they're not the work of one period. Tradition says that Vyas was the first to teach the Puranas to Lomaharshana, who taught them to his disciples, and so on. There are other origin stories too, but the point is that they are all anonymously composed texts which have gone through many edits, additions and deletions. It is tough to place them historically, but scholars suggest the broad bracket of 3rd century Common Era to the 7th century Common Era for their composition. In this and the subsequent periods, not just the major Purans, but many minor or secondary ones called the Upa-Purans were also composed. The Upa-Purans are said to be 18 in number also, but different traditions compile different lists of these 18. Some of them are Kalika, Shamba, Saura, Vishnu Dharmottara, Adya, Durvasa, Dharma, Bhargava, Narsimha, Naradiya, Varuna, Shivadharma, etc. In fact, many medieval religious texts tended to pass themselves off as Puraans and therefore fulfilled none of the criteria of original Puranic compositions. This was especially true of Sthala Mahatmyas or glorifications of sacred sites, as also kalpas or ritual texts, stotras or songs of praise, and akhyanas or legends. Regional and vernacular texts or oral records giving backstories about castes are also accepted as Jati Purans. About why the Puranas came to be composed and revised, scholars suggest that it may have been a deliberate attempt to legitimize new theistic religions like Vaishnavism and Shaivism by combining them with Vedic orthodoxy. Foreign elements and sectarian practices were taken in one wide Puranic sweep and assimilated with older customs. Professor G.V. Devasthali nicely sums it up for us. He says, the Puranas were revised and modified in order to serve as the religious texts of that large section of people who, though devoted worshippers of Shiva and Vishnu, were at the same time too attached to the Vedas, Smritis or Dharmashastras, particularly the Varnashrama, to abandon them altogether for the sake of the new creed. They originated what may be called modern Hinduism, and the growth in their number led to the mutilation and multiplication of Puranic texts. Well, now you know the gravitas behind Panditji's statement. With Culture Express, I try to give you the context of many of our cultural beliefs and practices every week with a new video. Do like, share, subscribe and keep watching. Namaskar.